Good evening. I'm Jeff Chamberlain, Deputy City Manager with the City of Kalamazoo, and welcome to the Committee of the Whole meeting of the Kalamazoo City Commission of Monday, April 5th, 2021. Tonight's meeting is being streamed live on the City of Kalamazoo's YouTube channel, as well as the City of Kalamazoo's Facebook page. You can listen to this meeting on your phone by calling area code 269-552-6425 and entering meeting ID number 966-5268306 when prompted. And you can also leave a public comment for tonight's Committee of the Whole meeting by calling area code 269-226-6573. And I'd like to turn the meeting over to Mayor David Anderson.
Thank you so much, Deputy City Manager Jeff Chamberlain. It is a pleasure to see everybody. It seems like it's been an extra long time. Maybe it's that fifth Monday that throws me for a loop, but it's nice to see everybody. We had a beautiful weekend and I'm glad to be here back together doing the work we need to do. So I'm calling this Committee of the Whole meeting for Monday, April 5th to order. First order of business, Shelby Moss, please call the roll.
Commissioner Cunningham.
Right here in the City of Kalamazoo.
Commissioner Hess.
Hello, here in the City of Kalamazoo.
Commissioner Knott. Commissioner Pradle.
Good evening, present in the City of Kalamazoo.
Commissioner Urban.
Here in the City of Kalamazoo.
Vice Mayor Griffin.
Here in the City of Kalamazoo.
Mayor Anderson.
Here in Kalamazoo. Thank you so much, Clerk Moss. I know we were notified by Commissioner Knott that she would be unable to attend this evening. We have several of our esteemed deputy city managers here on this call. Are there any communications for us?
There are no communications, Mayor.
Commissioner Cunningham?
Do we need a motion to excuse Commissioner Knott's absence?
Thank you. I think you are right. We do. Would you like to make that motion?
Yes.
Appreciate that. Is there support? Supported by Commissioner Hess. All in favor of excusing Commissioner Knott from this Committee of the Whole meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. Thank you. The motion passes. This is the time on our agenda for public comments. DCM Chamberlain, do we have any public comments for our Committee of the Whole meeting?
Yes, sir, we do. We'll go ahead and play those for the commission.
Jeff Messer, city resident. 6 days ago, I emailed all 7 members of the city commission to inform them that all Kalamazoo County residents age 16 and older were eligible to receive COVID-19 vaccines as of Tuesday, March 30. That means all members of the city commission who want to receive a vaccine should have at least an appointment to receive one by now. The purpose of these Committee of the Whole meetings is to increase the transparency of the City Commission. Therefore, I am asking all 7 members of the City Commission to please disclose their vaccination status during this meeting. Are you fully vaccinated, partially vaccinated, have an appointment to be vaccinated, or choose not to be vaccinated? The voters are entitled to this information. That is because you continue to disenfranchise a portion of your constituents by refusing to move to some form of in-person meeting like hybrid or outdoors. Once all of you are fully vaccinated, there's no longer an excuse for you to continue hiding from the public by holding 100% virtual meetings. In my email, I gave a timeline that allows the entire City Commission to be fully vaccinated by the first Monday meeting in June, which is the latest date I expect some form of in-person meeting to resume. However, I expect the Commission to be good public servants by resuming in-person meetings at the first opportunity once everyone is fully vaccinated, which could easily occur in May. Thank you for your consideration.
Mr. Mayor, that was the last public comment received.
Thank you, DCM Chamberlain. No special agenda items tonight, so we are down to our review of items on the upcoming City Commission agendas.
Yes, sir. I can talk a little bit about that. So this evening, we're going to be talking about economic development, and we have a whole presentation planned for that. But for your upcoming meetings, in 2 weeks on the 19th of April, as a follow-up of the retreat that the City Commission had, We're going to continue discussion regarding housing. So there'll be another in-depth presentation regarding that. And then at your regular meeting on the 19th, we have tentatively scheduled to come back for a public hearing for the analysis to impediments to fair housing. So we'll have at your regular meeting on the 19th. Also, we have a couple of affordable housing projects on the 19th, where it's something called a payment in lieu of taxes, where there are some changes that are being required based on some changes made by the state of Michigan that we then need to make some changes to come into consistency with the state of Michigan. And then also on the 19th at the regular meeting, we will be bringing you back our quarterly report regarding odor mitigation methods that are underway. We committed to doing that quarterly, and we are at another quarter. So then also looking at your future committee of the whole meetings on May 3rd, again, following up from the City Commission's retreat, we will be going into more depth regarding the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety for that evening. And then on the committee of the whole meeting for Monday, May 17th, again, following up from the Commission's retreat, we'll be having more of an in-depth discussion regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion, the efforts going on. So with that, that is a wrap up of the upcoming meetings. And again, those are all tentative, but those are the major topics, sir.
Thank you, DCM Chamberlain. And for our work session tonight, we have retreat follow-up. And who's leading that presentation?
Mayor, we'll ask Director Kick to introduce that presentation for tonight.
Thank you, Mayor Anderson and Deputy City Manager Moore, Vice Mayor Griffin, and Commissioners. We are excited tonight. I've got an incredible community investment team to present their work to you. And what makes me really excited about this is that on the Saturday retreat, I was kind of solo, and we were talking about all of these incredible initiatives that if you know anything about my staff, they are empowered and they are moving some incredible vision forward with all of the engagement and community listening that they do. So I'm really excited to turn this over to them, specifically to Antonio Mitchell, our Community Investment Manager, and I will have him introduce his new team to you as well. And then we'll be going through a PowerPoint presentation. We're going to try and get through that in like 35 minutes or so that you've got plenty of time to ask a lot of questions of the staff and really be able to talk about the future work that's moving forward. So Antonio, I'll turn it over to you, and you just let me know when you want to share the PowerPoint.
Okay. Thank you everyone for having us. I was really excited when Rebecca told me you guys talked about economic development. I said, yes, I'm glad to hear you guys want to talk about economic development. It is spectacular. I have new staff. I think a number of commissioners know, and staff know that I was a team of like 2 for a very long period of time, taking on a lot of initiatives. I have a couple of new staff people. Tonight, we just have 2 that will be attending to answer any additional questions after the presentation, if you have for them. We have Melanie Dakin. She's the neighborhood neighborhood business and special projects coordinator. She took over Dwayne Powell's position in the past, working with our businesses, in particular, business assistance focus, and working with our grant and loan programs, which we've enhanced and changed, which we'll talk about a little bit more in this presentation. And we have also Paul Thurnringer. He's also new. Both of these individuals have been around less than 6 months. So they're still going through the training and discussion of learning about the city of Kalamazoo. In the case of Paul, he'll be coming from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Melanie is here in Kalamazoo and knows the community very well. Paul will be focusing on my past position of doing development project coordination. And I'll talk about more about what they do in the presentation but he'll be pretty much focusing on development project and development assistance, working on not just economic development projects, but also mixed use development project and housing development projects for the city of Kalamazoo, and pretty much focusing on taking individuals through the process of going through our site plan review and project review, so that they not only have someone talking to them during the process, but more importantly, as we call it, guiding them through the steps of who to talk to, when to talk to people, and making sure that they're not just getting lost in our process, and helping them give some guidance and direction. So thank you for having us all here. If Rebecca, you'll bring up the PowerPoint, we'll get started. Okay. As you can see here from this first slide, this is projects that have been completed in the last couple of years, right in our downtown area. This is economic development at its best. We are in this resurgent in Kalamazoo, city of Kalamazoo, that's happening right now, that I was so happy to come back. Rebecca told me this was going to happen, and by God, it has happened, and it's moving forward. And it's been very exciting to see all the cranes in our downtown over the last couple of years, and hopefully more to come. But in that process, we as a city have to be more proactive. This presentation tonight is just a vision of the possibilities. You as the mayor, commissioners, city management have the overall say of what direction we really go into, not only from this presentation, but going forward. What are additional things that need to be added? There will be discussions for me about possible future staff that we would love to have to grow and expand what we're trying to do. But that'll also be a decision that you'll be making later this year when you start looking at budgets and funding, and we'll be making recommendations on how to pay for positions we are interested in expanding and growing in this division. So keep that in mind as we go through this presentation, that this is a presentation of the possibilities of what we're trying to do, but you will give us the guidance on how we implement this process. Okay. So next slide. So always talk even in the past, we're talking to mayor and commissioners about economic development, that there's challenges, and these challenges are different for every city. These are not all the challenges, and there's different solutions. But the biggest challenge that most cities have to face, and including our city, is economic development a priority for the city of Kalamazoo? Is this a priority? Is this important? And what does that mean for you as the mayor and commissioners? What does economic development mean when you look out into the city? What do you want to see? Downtown, down the corridors, in the neighborhoods, what does that mean? You have to give us that definition of how you want to implement this, and then we'll carry it out and make sure it happens. But that's one key major challenge for each city, is to get the mayor, commissioners, and the management team on the same page to say, where do we want to go? What do we want to see? Then it's for us as the city staff to identify what are the resources? What do we have? What are the possibilities of what we can bring to the table? Then it comes to what I bring up earlier, the staff capacity of carrying out those wishes by the mayor and commission. One key factor is business retention. It's not talked about enough, but your most important businesses in economic development is the existing business that you have. You have to create a relationship with those businesses. You have to build upon that relationship, and then you have to help them grow and expand in the city because they are your future in the commercial side, industrial side, tech side, and office side. You have to assist them with being productive, and you have to market. One thing we have not done that we need to ramp up is our ability to market our city to showcase what we are here in Kalamazoo and what we can provide to the community. And tying to what our foundation of how we want to bring equity in our community, we really have to focus on our shared prosperity Kalamazoo neighborhoods on business development equity and also workforce equity. I think important, we've been working on these items with trying to work on our corridors, Borders Corridor, and other aspects of going into downtown. But workforce equity is not talked about enough. We've been working on it. I'm not sure if it's been talked about. We'll share more information from hopefully our Shared Prosperity Committee, hopefully in the future. but we funded a CNA class on the north side that pretty much produced individuals, 8 individuals. I'm pretty sure it was 8 individuals that graduated. And the importance of that is this is that workforce equity component, because we moved some individuals that were probably making minimum wage to now having the certification of CNA that they'll make an average between $15 and $20 an hour. That is huge. That's a huge jump to go probably $8 an hour more. That will change those households and those families. So we have to, underneath economic development, focus in those areas as well. One story I put in here that I talked about, and everyone actually said, why did you have former Mayor Bobby Hopewell in this presentation? And this is critical story that I'll share real quickly, and then I'll go into solutions. Mayor Hopewell, and everyone knows Mayor Hopewell used to go out and travel, this and that. He went to Detroit 2 years ago. And at that time, I was on project development coordinator. I was in Paul's position. And he came back, and me and Mayor Hopewell have a history. I used to work for the city back in the 90s, and Mayor Hopewell was a commissioner back then. And at the time, I was doing business assistant specialists and things like that. But at the time, I put together packets for working with the chamber, working with South Michigan First, when they was a different organization at the time, to assist businesses that were coming to the community on what we had, what made us great and things like that. So Bobby came back, he just assumed that I was still doing this for whatever reason. He was like, hey, I met this company that I was at a restaurant, and they have a great restaurant. They would love to come to Kalamazoo. Because Bobby used to go over places and love talking about Kalamazoo. And he said, can you put together a packet and send it to him? And I said, Bobby, I don't have a packet to send to nobody anymore. And he said, what do you mean you don't have a packet to send to nobody anymore? I said, I don't do that anymore. I help businesses that are here trying to grow and expand. I don't do business recruiting and retention anymore. He said, well, who does that? I said, sorry, we don't do that anymore. He said, why don't we do that anymore? I was like, Bobby, I can't answer why we can't do that anymore. And he said, we need to get back to that. And I said, Bobby, I said, hopefully someday we will get back to that. Today is that day. This is something that I think is critical, is that if anyone, the mayor, Mayor Anderson, one of the commissioners, the vice mayor, everyone takes vacation, goes places, and people ask where you at, and hopefully you say, I'm from Kalamazoo, I love Kalamazoo. And people hopefully now, with what's going on with COVID, we're being recognized. It's like, what type of business atmosphere is in Kalamazoo? I wouldn't mind, expanding, because you got Western there and Kalamazoo College, and you got Pfizer, and all these other companies. It'd be a great place to be. And we would agree. But what do we have to offer them? And today we do not have anything. And so we're changing that platform this year so that we have a packet of information that we can share with someone like yourself, if you want to send something to a company you met up north, down south, or wherever that would be interested in saying, what does Kalamazoo have to offer? We should have something to provide to them. And hopefully that is our plan, to make sure we have something for them. So that is a solution to a problem that was brought up a couple of years ago that we're working on dealing with right now. Other solutions is we have an Economic Development Corporation, EDC, which is also part of our BRA board, that we used to utilize as a tool, pretty much as a economic advisory board, to give us more feedback on working with development in downtown and surround downtown. And our board is made up of a bunch of developers that are here locally. And we're not picking their brains to find out more of the things that not only they need, but they think we as a city need to make us more not only business friendly, but a light in Southwest Michigan for businesses to want to look at, to come to. So we want to work with them. That is one solution. Our City of Kalamazoo website needs to be updated in economic development. It needs to be a little bit more business friendly, more information. We need more applications and things like that on that. So we'll be working on that. One software we're looking at personally is called Salesforce. It's a data tracking reporting system. This will give us more information. I'll keep repeating this Salesforce throughout the presentation on how to get information into the system. So this will help us with our business recruiting effort and our business retention effort with this software and data and these initiatives. Next slide, Rebecca. So what does it, what do we do now? What happens when businesses try to reach out to us? Well, pretty much they go into 311 and get referred to the correct person. It could be myself, it could be Rebecca, it could be Melanie or Paul, depending on what their request is. And then of course they go to our website. Like I said, we need to update that a little bit more. We need more information. Right now, I'm not on the website. Paul's not on the website. I think Rebecca's the only one there. Christina's there. We need to add more information there on not only staff, but what we do and how we can assist, and then also the benefits and things that come forth. So that's something we're looking at this year. One thing that's important to me, and I express this more often than ever, is that we as a city need to become the economic development hub for the city of Kalamazoo. We need to foster what it means to be in business in Kalamazoo. We need to promote it. We need to assist, we need to lead, and we need to make sure that not only the business community understands that, but the state and everyone else that we work with, that we are not only leading what's happening in the city of Kalamazoo, but we're also going to push forth to make things happen. We're going to be proactive to initiate these steps. And that requires us to grow our platform here in the city a lot more, and in Southwest Michigan. So that's an initiative. The importance of the Salesforce, as I brought up, is it's a data tracking system. And so we need to make sure if we're doing retentions or even new people are coming in, that we're putting them into a system that we can get reports and information that we can share with you as the mayor and commissioners. It's critical that we have supporting data really backing up what we're saying. Not that we just pull anything out the air. We can say, no, this data shows this, these retention shows this feedback shows this, and we can support what we're saying with data to assist you as the mayor and commissioners with decisions you're going to help us make going forward. Like I said, priority of business retention and recruiting is not only critical just for our business corridor, but it's real important for our business downtown businesses too. So we're going to try to work a little bit more with our downtown development organization and our businesses to really focus on not only their needs, but how to help them grow and expand, how to fill, sorry to say, open space, maybe because of COVID, and create opportunities not only in our downtown, but specifically in our corridors. We're looking at hopefully creating of new incentive programs for small business development going forward. We're going to hopefully get more feedback from some of our downtown businesses and our EDC and other entities in the community to say what else would help our businesses grow here in the city and what will attract businesses as well. We want to look at, which we have done in the past, startup businesses, but we want to be specific in the areas we want to focus on. And I'll share more information a little bit more in a couple more slides on really focus on shared prosperity SBK neighborhoods in that area. Next slide, Rebecca. Understanding the business community needs. One key component that we are working on, and which is really important, is understanding that there are needs of the businesses, and we need to understand what those needs are and what those options. One thing we need to be able to do is talk about the funding options that we have here in the city, what grants for businesses, what incentives that we can provide to businesses. So we need to pull that all in one place and have that accessible to businesses, hopefully on our website. Land development options, we need to be able to show what land is available, what the zoning is. We're making zoning changes for land development throughout the city. We need to make sure we can not only explain that, but show significantly why that's important with those zoning requirements there. Be able to talk about our economic market here in the city, our workforce population, what workforce we have, workforce we want to quote unquote enhance, and why. We need to really talk about the quality of life for not only our businesses, but the employees that quote unquote are here in the city. What does it mean to live in the city? We need to be able to explain that significantly. What does it mean to own a house? What's the possibility of building a house in the city? There's a lot of possibilities of building houses in the city, single family housing, but we don't talk about it enough. We don't talk about, we're going to change that. When we talk about community development in the future, we'll talk about that with Skysight Housing and Development on that initiative. But we have to be proactive in that process of communicating that. So we plan on doing that. One thing that we don't talk about, I think we take it for granted here because we live here and we love this little community that we would call Kalamazoo, is our location in the state of Michigan. We are literally in the middle of the state on I-94 in between Chicago and Detroit. And I tell people sometimes in summer, get on the train and go into Chicago and go to the Share Aquarium, spend a day, and then come back that night. They said, what are you talking about? Yes, you can literally travel from our downtown to downtown Chicago. No one talks about that on the train. And have a great day, have a great weekend. I've done it. I've gone to a conference for a week, took the train in, went to the conference, took the train back to Kalamazoo. If you've ever driven to Chicago, there's a reason for that. I did not want to pay for the parking. I did not want to deal with the traffic. That is an asset. We need to talk about our assets of being here where we're located and how we are a benefit to Southwest Michigan and what that benefit is. One key component that we talk about but don't push is our education support we have here. Our K-12, K-RESA. Our region is very good educational-wise. We have great local colleges and university here. We have the Kalamazoo Promise. That's being pushed, and that's been pushed by the Kalamazoo Promise. I think we as a city need to push that more. We need to talk about that when we're working with hopefully Western Pfizer or anyone else that's recruiting someone. We need to have a packet for them as a business to say, hey, this is why that person probably should look at living in our downtown or living in one of our neighborhoods. This is what we have for them. We need to work more with Western, KVCC, and Kalamazoo College because they have 30,000 students that come into our community every year. What are we doing as a city to assist in that marketing of not only our colleges, but our community? I think that's critical for parents. I know when my parents were looking at school and when I was looking at schools for my daughter, I was looking at the community. What does that community offer to my child? Because when they leave my house, they are not part of that community. What does that mean? We need to have something for that. We have the medical industry here that is beautiful. And I tell people we're the Ann Arbor on the west side of Michigan. You know, we have Bronson and Borges right here in our downtown area. We have 2 cancer centers down here. We have an overflow of opportunity here to tap into working with our medical industry in our downtown area, not only on economic development, but also housing development as well. So we need to be proactive and start having those conversations on what does that mean to work with Bronson and Borges to expand their capabilities and hopefully recruit some of their quote unquote staff to live in our downtown area so they can walk to work or ride their bike to work. We need to have that conversation. In ending this slide, we as the city of Kalamazoo check all the boxes that we need to check for young, vibrant, educated, and arts community people to look at. So anytime we come up on any blip on Google, we should come up in those areas that this is a place you want to think of looking at if you're looking at moving someplace in the Midwest. Kalamazoo should be on your radar. Next slide, please. So talking about staff, as I brought up Melanie Dakin, she is our neighborhood business special projects coordinator. Her pretty much objective is to work with businesses. That's it. It's to focus on identifying, meeting with businesses to try to help them grow and expand. She's going to include some retention components. That's not going to be her main focus. Her main focus is really technical assistance, trying to help our existing businesses, small business in particular, with their business growth and development. We expanded our technical assistance grant to up to $5,000, but it's specifically for technical assistance, for training, development, education, and expansion of your business as a small business. We've moved to facade and white box grant. And what does that mean? Is that we're trying to assist with the development of the facades of our community on our corridor and our downtown. We also want to help some of our quote unquote landlords and property owners with marketing their hopefully their spaces that are available, be able to assist them putting together a packet and offer hopefully a white box grant to assist if they have a food company or a regular business that's looking to come into some of our storefronts. We want to be able to assist them with that process to get them in there. And so we've created funding to assist in that process. We really want to focus going forth in 2021, especially in 2022, on business marketing initiative. We really want to try to work with more minority business development and identification. We've been told a lot about minority businesses, but we haven't officially identified them. That is a priority this year. Going into next year is identifying those businesses. We've worked with a number of those businesses. We really want to focus on our SBK neighborhoods, which we have a lot of African American and Hispanic residents in those areas, and some businesses as well. So we were trying to expand that initiative to not only meet with those businesses, but identify what their needs are. The real number of our business platform is not known. So we're trying to create that platform, use our Salesforce system as well to deal with that process. We're trying to expand our work with our minority contractors as well. We're going to be working with Kalamazoo Home Builders Associations to continue a program to assist our contractors in not only getting the licenses that they need, but also how to put together the right bid packages so they can bid on not only jobs, hopefully for the city, but also other communities like Portage and Kalamazoo Township and other communities in Kalamazoo County. We really want to assist that process in their growth and development. We are really focusing on future training, education in these areas. We really want our local minority businesses to really focus on procurement and purchasing and contracting with not only the city, but hopefully our regional area to assist them in their growth and development. One thing we've been doing is working with the Kalamazoo Capital Consortium, which is a nonprofit, works with nonprofit lenders and for-profit lenders to pre-assess possible loan approval for businesses. And in that process, what they do is it doesn't hit your credit report. And so what they're doing is analyzing your ability to not only get funding, but also give you pointers on if you can get funding. And then we would help with technical assistance to moving in that direction. But if they can get funding, those organizations, either the nonprofit lenders or the for-profit lenders, would bid on trying to assist them with getting funding for their project. So we're trying to keep that growing, keep that expanding to assist hopefully our local lenders with their investment into working with our local businesses. We got to move something. I can't see this last one. Let's go to the next slide. And then you come to Paul, Thurdenringer, Development Project Coordinator. And like I stated earlier, Paul's initiative is to work with our small developers and our large developers that take them through the city project review assistance process, the city site plan review process, and then assisting them with site and building research in the city. So we're trying to put together pretty much a GIS map and other mapping archives of what properties we have, where they are, what buildings we have, so that if we have a business that's looking to come to our community, I can send them to Paul. Paul can bring up, okay, this is our properties that fit the zoning requirements, your site requirements, and information that you say you provided that we can assist you with these sites. And then we can put together a packet and send it to them on those sites, and also all the benefits that we have. Meaning the economic development tools and other financial options that we may have in our community that we think they can take advantage of, not only locally, but also regionally, maybe with the county, with the Brownfield Authority, with the county, our local Brownfield Authority, with the state, with some of the economic development tools they have. We'll be able to put that together and to send to them the system. Paul will also be able to assist them if they're looking at a Brownfield site with our BRA, our Brownfield Development Authority, in that process and helping them get guided on how to go through the right steps to get on the agenda to talk about their project and move forward. I provided the mayor and commissioners a copy of an RFQ for 140 South Everett Street. Hopefully you had a good chance to look at that. That is a component of us being proactive and looking at development of sites. This is one that we think is ideal site in our opportunity zone right downtown that we think we can attract hopefully a number of developers that may be interested in coming to our downtown. This is an example that Paul will be working with us on in the future to assist us with getting these packages developed, hopefully working with the state. We work with the Michigan Municipal League to develop this packet. Hopefully everyone had a good chance to look at it and like what was put together. We did an open forum last Friday, which I spoke, Rebecca spoke about this site and the opportunity for this site. We had over 50 different participants, hopefully a good number of developers. That was the most that have attended a Zoom meeting or open meeting for a presentation. So I'm happy to say people are interested in the city of Kalamazoo, and we want to make sure we're ready to assist them. And so that's what Paul is going to be doing going forward. Next slide, please. I've talked to, I think, the commission before about A&P Consulting. We've contracted with them, which is a local company, minority-owned business, and women-owned business, to assist us with business development, our business development fund review and analysis. This is important because 90% of the past business development fund grants and funding was to African-American and women-owned businesses here in the city. Because we haven't been doing retention, we need to make sure independently, this is why it's important, that we have an independent, pretty much organization that's asking them questions, getting feedback from them, not the city, trying to figure out what worked and what didn't work, and what else do they need. We're going to take that information from them on what deliverables we have and what we need to create to hopefully move forward to assist those businesses that we've already worked with, and hopefully businesses we are going to work with. Looking to get a report to the mayor and commissioners at a commission meeting, hopefully in May, so you can have that information, ask questions, and we can give you additional feedback. This information that we are collecting as well will also go into our Salesforce system, so we can track not only what we've done in the past, but also what we're hopefully going to do in the future. We're working with those businesses. Next slide, please. And then United Way, Bow Creek, Kalamazoo region. We've been working with them for a year. The mayor and commissioner approved for us to use COVID-19 dollars to assist with businesses. And we've been providing reports all last year on what we've been doing with those businesses, who got approved, who didn't get approved. It was a great, might as well say, pilot for us to find out what the needs are and what businesses we could help. I do not have numbers in front of me. I think I report before on that, we worked with over 100 different businesses to sustain and stay, as I say, open and active during the COVID time period that have grown. One key factor with even our loan program, we had 2 businesses that took advantage of the loan program that paid their loans back a couple of months ago. That took advantage of the loan program last year, which is significant. We've only had one default on all the loans and the dollars that we provided to the community and the local businesses. So it has been a humongous benefit. A couple of months ago, pretty much the commission gave approval for us to extend these programs, to expand them going forward to be a regular economic development tool for the city of Kalamazoo. So United Way will be working with us to continue the business grant program, which is up to $5,000. It is different from the technical assistance program in the sense that the technical assistance program that we have at the city focuses on technical assistance. In the case of the business grant program with United Way, it can cover any business expense working with that business. In the case of the loan program, it's $5,000 to $50,000. And that program is continued from last year as well. That was underneath COVID. And that's to assist with small business with gap financing or small business development projects they're working on that they need some flexible funding to assist them to be productive that they probably can't get at the bank because of how small the loan is. Excuse me. So what we're trying to do going forward, though, is we want to make this more not only equitable to expand to individuals that live in SBK neighborhoods, but we want to be intentional. One thing we're trying to do is be more proactive in getting into the neighborhoods to try to work with the neighborhood associations. We're trying to work with a couple organizations, Black Wall Street and other organizations in the community to assist with the communication and information. That is one thing that was real important with our website and with our working with our IT and technical assistance, social media, is being able to get more information out to our business community to assist them to take advantage of these opportunities, in particular in the neighborhoods. So we want to try to work with hopefully our neighborhood associations and our faith-based community as well to get more information out to the local community and especially the business community and what we're doing. Next slide, please. In that process, we've been working with the Greater Kalamazoo Small Business Resources group of coalitions of service providers here in Kalamazoo, and they focus on Kalamazoo County, not the city of Kalamazoo. It's a Kalamazoo County approach and regional area. And the coalition created a website to assist with Kalamazoo County business with business resources in the community. And so pretty much you can go there and find out all the resources that you can tap into. And so we've been trying to work with them and work with SCORE and LIST and that's Office Mission First and Western United Way to make sure we're providing hopefully a one-stop shop site that covers the regional area on what sort of resources you have that can assist our small businesses. And so we've been working with them on that process, which has also galvanized us to talk about other initiatives we're going to talk about going forward as well. Next slide, please. So as I brought up, we're reaching out to the faith-based community. They're reaching out to us in our department to assist them with development projects they want to do. We have 3 faith-based community organizations that are looking at 3 major development projects here in the city right now. We can't talk about them, of course, right now because they're still in the development phase. But I think the community will be pretty impressed once they find out what these faith-based organizations are doing and what they plan to do going forward. They plan on investing in the community that they're in and around them. And they want to make significant impacts in our city. And so we're going to be assisting them in that process, trying to find not only additional funding, but other opportunities for them to not only invest into the city, but hopefully invest in some of their congregation to try to start a business. And we can help them with that process as well. Next slide, please. One thing that's been brought up the last couple of years, maybe a little bit longer than a couple of years, is Accelerator Incubator. We're in the process. We're working with the Greater Kalamazoo Small Business Resource Team, which we talked about earlier, to assist with hopefully incubator development and expansion here in the city of Kalamazoo. Can Do Kitchen, which is an organization that works with a lot of restaurants with growth and development startups and expansion, has pretty much rented out space in the building off of Park Street. There's more than enough space to grow there. We're in discussion to figure out how it's possible maybe to grow additional space there if necessary, or other spaces in the downtown area for incubator development. Hopefully we'll be able to work with them to grow, and they'll be able to provide additional assistance beyond just working with restaurant businesses, and be able to put together a platform that can assist a multitude of different businesses that are trying to grow and expand here in the city of Kalamazoo. We want to hopefully in the future really focus on startup businesses. We do not focus on startup businesses currently in economic development. We would like to going forward into 2021, going to 2022. We really want to focus on home-based businesses in our SBK neighborhoods and the residents. Earlier I talked about workforce equity. We will also want to focus on business development equity as well. And we think if we work with individuals in our neighborhoods, North Side, East Side, and Edison, to start a business, a home-based business, to assist them to bring in a little extra money, we can then hopefully get them, if we can get someone, I think if we can get someone, this is my dream, we can get someone to make an extra $100 with their small business, then we can work with them to double or triple that. Okay, so we can help, okay, you made an extra 100, let's try to figure out how to help turn that extra 100 to extra 300, and then turn the extra 300 to 900 to 1,000. We think if we can do that and get that started, it can have a significant impact on our neighborhood and also the residents in our neighborhood. So that's a focus that we're going to be doing. This is part of, like I said, our economic development equity initiative. How do we help enhance the ability of individuals in our neighborhoods, in this case, our SBK neighborhoods, to take advantage of the opportunities that are out there right from their home? Is that possible? We think it is. And that's going to be part of our initiative going forward into 21, 22. Next slide, please. One new component that I think everyone knows about is that marijuana business and assistance is part of literally what we do now. It is legal. It is a business component, and there are dollars that will be that are already here, that are coming, that are in the equity funding component. That 25% is supposed to go in that area. Staff is currently in discussion of bringing a presentation of information to the mayor and commissioners on what our recommendations is. It'll be up to you as mayor and commission to take that recommendation, expand the recommendation, or say no to that recommendation. But we'll be bringing something to you this year to assist in that process of working in that direction. We will be also probably in that same time period making a recommendation that we need a marijuana coordinator, development coordinator, a staff person to really focus in that area. Like you said, this is a recommendation for the future. It's not something that needs to happen right now, but we recognize we're working with licensing, processing, community benefit, engagement, economic development, communication with these businesses, that they need more attention than we're able to provide. And right now we have 26 businesses in the Kalamazoo area that have that license. It's good for you to know that the state of Michigan will be opening up the marijuana business of licensing and development at the end of this year to the world. So sorry to say, or grateful to say, depending on your view, that there may be other interests in Kalamazoo for marijuana business development. We need to be prepared to assist in that process, and that's what we're looking forward to. In that process, we're looking at adding all this information to our Salesforce system, that's the business tracking, but also working with local marijuana organizations to create an economic development corporation marijuana committee to really have discussion. Next slide, please. So this committee will focus on marijuana education for the community, business development for existing businesses and startups, business retention, how to sustain the businesses that we have to make them successful, business expansion. Some of these businesses will grow. Hopefully you need to expand, so we'll need assistance in that process. Working with individuals in the community that would like to get started in the marijuana business, investment options in the neighborhoods or elsewhere. On-the-job training, which is important. This is a new industry that has opportunity for different types of jobs. So we want to make sure people understand what those jobs are, what they entail, and also the process of hopefully getting hired to transition into more higher paying jobs in the marijuana industry. Other areas will be determined by this committee and the community on what feedback they think we need to focus on. But we want to make sure that we have a committee of hopefully marijuana business owners involved with the discussion to assist in how we're not only expanding and growing the business platform here in Kalamazoo, but what does that mean for you as a mayor and commissioner, what you're doing, with what you're voting on and approving in the community, in business and economic development. This is one of those areas that you will have to focus on. Next slide, please. So as I stated, vision for the future is we want to really focus on business retention and marketing. We think we will need a staff position in the future, not today, but in the future. This information is real important. This whole presentation is real important because we want to make sure economic development is on the mind of the mayor and commissioners when you start thinking about budgets. We want to be on your mind in that prospect of what does that mean, economic development. This is one step in that direction. We definitely think we need a marijuana business development coordinator to assist working with only the existing businesses, but future businesses in the future. And so we'll be presenting that in the future as well for you to look at. Next slide. And 2020 education and implementation and programming. This whole slide is about where we're going. This is what we're trying to get to in 2022. New staff has come on board. We're building capacity, but we know we're going to need more capacity with some initiatives we're trying to implement in 2022, but we're preparing in 2021 for 2022. This is our vision. This is what we're trying to initiate. We are looking forward to the mayor and commissioner's feedback on other things that you think we need to be focusing on, and we'll be proactive to make those things happen. Next slide. So in conclusion, our focus, and we talk about this in community planning and economic development on a regular basis, is the Imagine Kalamazoo 2025 initiative is our foundation. Everything that you've seen me present, everything you'll see us present going forward, and what we've been presenting when items come to the City Commission is based on this as our foundation. We want to see diversity, equity, and development happen in the City of Kalamazoo. And that plan is being enacted by us, not only in economic development, but also in community development in our department. We are being proactive, and we are assorting our not only wisdom, but our understanding of how to make sure these things are happening, not only in the community, but we are trying to make sure we're an example for not only Kalamazoo, but hopefully our region and our state. Hopefully this has been helpful to you as the Mayor and Commission, and we look forward to any questions. Next slide says questions. And we're willing to answer any questions you have and to give you feedback as necessary.
And Tony Mitchell, I'll just start out right here. First of all, I just want to thank you very much to you and your team for this, very, very comprehensive presentation. It's a bit, I almost feel like pausing for a second just to let all that sink in. It certainly demonstrates that this work does not happen without tremendous individual effort and focus every day. It's just not something that's going to happen on its own. So I really appreciate what you've set out in terms of goals. Very ambitious, very important. I think it's the kind of thing we for sure want to be doing in Kalamazoo. So thank you to you and your team. Welcome aboard, new team members. Looking for a great ride here as we go to the next few years. Are there specific questions that Vice Mayor or commissioners have for our economic development team here? Commissioner Pradel.
Sure. Thank you so much for the presentation, Antonio. Appreciate your time and preparing us tonight. My question for you is when you were mentioning the list of business resources that we're connected to here in the community and that we're working in partnership and tandem, I was curious about thought or attention that's been given to resourcing some of our neighborhood associations. I know in a number of cases, they're also very under-resourced, but are a tremendous resource for economic development, especially in our neighborhoods. And, we're doing a lot of really great innovative things. And so I was just curious if we have a pretty good ongoing relationship related to economic development in our neighborhood associations.
Yes, there's going to be a couple. I think everyone knows Northside Association of Community Development has been doing some economic initiatives, over the last couple of years. We're in the process of my team and Rebecca of working with a couple of our other neighborhood associations to move in that same direction, Commissioner Pradel, to help them expand their platform of not just providing information, but also hopefully providing some housing, some economic development platforms. And so we're working with a couple of our neighborhood associations to expand their footprint, put it that way. I think Vine, you say NACD expanded their footprint, Vine Neighborhood, they expanded their footprint, and hopefully we'll be working with the East Side Association and the Edison Association to expand their footprint into this fray. We think it will provide them hopefully additional cash flow and opportunity for them that is not tethered by regulations and things like that they can utilize in different ways, but also hopefully open up opportunities for them to in a way that will mirror additional growth. People don't realize that when we as a city, I was part of the city back then, when we did the grocery store, it opened up across the street, Little Caesars, Family Dollar. It made the city, invest in the public safety building. The plasma business redid their whole building, their parking lot. It had a ripple effect. So hopefully we're going to do some things like that in Edison and in the East Side. That's going to hopefully have that same effect on a couple of corridors. So that is the plan at this time.
Yeah, that's great. I just can't emphasize enough the great work that they've already done over the last few years and decades. But I just really hope that, especially looking, as we were talking about doing the home-based businesses and smaller business startup focus, I think that's really a big heart of where we can garner that support and enthusiasm behind our neighborhoods and the people who are already doing the work in the neighborhood. And so I mentioned this a couple of years ago. I think they're doing such great work and they're doing it so lean. I mean, you look at Maddie Jordan Woods at NACD. She's doing the raffle tickets at festivals in the summer, out in that hot summer heat, and leading the whole organization as well. And so, these people who do the work, I think also could be resourced and help with that capacity as well. I was also going to ask you, I'm really excited to hear about, as part of the equity initiative, about the home-based businesses, and as that is kind of a startup initiative. I think that shows a lot of great foresight, especially knowing that, the gig economy is really booming, but also just the fact that I really think it's going to be a major after effect of the pandemic. And, that people are going to be more focused on home-based businesses and small startups. And, especially when you look at disproportionately, I don't know if you've heard of the term about, basically about how many mothers have been forced to stay home, and stepped out of the workforce. And so for so many individuals, especially for the female workforce too, I think it's a great opportunity to really empower individuals to maybe restart their careers in those initiatives. So I just can't emphasize enough how great I think that is and how awesome that could be for the community as well. So yeah, I was also just curious as well, in terms of partnership as well, with Southwest Michigan First. If we're doing a lot of the recruiting and attraction and retention, I was just curious in terms of like what role we have with Southwest Michigan First or the Downtown Kalamazoo Partnership in working in tandem with them in those efforts, because I know that they're largely doing a lot of recruitment and retention and those efforts as well.
Yeah, pretty much what will happen is we'll be hopefully collaborating a little bit more with them on those initiatives. Sorry to say what they've been doing solo. We haven't been a partner in that process. So what we're trying to do is be a partner and collaborating with them in that process, and hopefully providing additional information on, in this, like I said, earlier, on being more site specific. We want to work more with also our realtors locally on their space. One thing that I'm not sure if anyone had a chance to attend, we had our 501 launch this past summer, and we had food truck there. We have people coming in the pandemic. We said social distancing and everything. But one thing we found out is that it was very beneficial to really show off a site and what the possibility was for that site to the public, not only locally. So we want to do more of that. Hopefully we're working with our realtors, working with some of our downtown organizations, working with Southwest Michigan First to really promote some of our sites and really showcase those sites and those possibilities. And so that was a great experience with 501 Northwestern site, is that we got to really showcase the site, talk about the city, put together pretty much a proposal and a team to review and promote that. And we said we need to do this more. We can't do it a lot, of course, because we don't have the budgeting to do it a lot, but we can be pretty specific and specific areas that we may own. In this case, we as BRA owns that site, but we as a city can also work with the right realtors to identify what would be a nice site to develop. There may be a corner, commercial space that will not only pop, but also pop and have effect on the spaces around them. And so we want to be very, very strategic in that process and really promote not only working with the downtown organizations, but also South Michigan First on Pacific development projects like that.
Commissioner Urban.
Yes. Am I still muted?
No, we can hear you.
All right, good. There was a couple acronyms and phrases that were in the slides that I'd like for you to elaborate on.
Okay.
One of them was equity funds, 25%. I didn't know what that meant. Could you talk a little bit about that first?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit. I may have to lean on Clyde a little bit more. This is the component with the state of Michigan that dollars come from the state, from the taxes, from marijuana taxes, is that 25% of it is supposed to go to equity type of development projects and everything. So for equity development in the city. And so we're as a city supposed to pull aside 25% of that and really focus on equity development, working with Dora LeBonner and the pretty much city attorney's office and us to really figure out how to reassess those dollars back in the community to be more effective in equity development into the city. And that could be, like I brought up earlier, our workforce development initiative. is expanding some workforce development. It could be in hopefully maybe even our loan program for home-based businesses in the SBK neighborhoods. We could be really creative in how to get those dollars literally back into our neighborhoods that need that assistance, what those dollars are supposed to focus on, and assist those individuals to hopefully expand their educational workforce and hopefully business equity in our community. So that's where that comes from.
So that's 25% of the money that's coming from our share of the revenue that the state collects that's due to Kalamazoo. 25% of what Kalamazoo's share is would be to be earmarked for equity development. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good.
Correct.
Good. Another question I have is the Can Do Kitchen. Is that, to what extent does the city run that? Is that a contract with PFC? What is our relationship with Can Do Kitchen?
Pretty much our relationship right now is currently just pretty much collaborative on assisting, making referrals to them. We do not have any legal contract or anything with them at this time and point. That could change in the future, depending on what we're doing. In the case of incubator development and accelerator, we could come back, a year from now and say, hey, we want to expand what they're doing, and would ask for the city's assistance from the Mayor Commission to support something like that, or it can go a whole nother direction. That's why we're working with pretty much a regional approach of discussion on how to have the best incubator platform here in the city of Kalamazoo that's going to really benefit the overall population in a whole.
Presumably this is not just for the city of Kalamazoo, but for the region, the whole county and the region as well? Okay.
Correct.
May I ask another question?
Yes, you may.
At 140 South Edwards, RFQ. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that? What kind of business are you actually hoping to attract there? And what scale are we talking about here?
Okay, let me bring up a little more information so I can see before I even speak on that. But the objective here for 140 South Edwards is to attract a developer to continue the development we have that's happening downtown. We want a mixed-use development project. We want to see some commercial. It doesn't have a whole lot of commercial. We want some commercial there. If you looked at the platform of the presentation, one thing we want to do is enhance the ability of Bates Alley being a recreational restaurant area for people to come down to enjoy. So we like the building to have effect there in that aspect. That is part of that development. We would like to see some mixed income, meaning affordable and market rate housing at this location. The presentation showed probably a 5-story building. That is not required. It can be higher. As we know with the Exchange building, that's a pretty big building, 15 stories. We're not looking to have something like that, but if someone comes in and would like to develop something that big, that would be great. This site is pretty much a block away from the Western Michigan Medical School. It's 2 blocks away from Bronson. It's right in our restaurant district. It's in the opportunity zone. It is not even a block, a building away from Michigan Avenue, which has 17,000 cars that go down that street every day. We think it's a prime location for the right developer that has the vision of what it means to be in Kalamazoo. I think the first slide shows that vision of the possibilities here in Kalamazoo. We think that the enhancement of the right company coming in to build the right building will enhance our downtown even more and hopefully open up other opportunities for other developers to come into our downtown to develop similar outstanding development projects that we've had by our local developers here in Kalamazoo.
Well, I'm sorry I missed the presentation you had a week ago. I would have been great to see who was there and who was in the room and who was talking to whom. But a few years ago, there used to be an art gallery at King Scott Associates on the 2nd floor. It was part of Art Hop. It was one of the premier stops during Art Hop. But they got tired of having to pay security to open the building up. The landlord wouldn't let them just open it up without having security there. Anyway, it kind of fell by the wayside, but it was a primo exhibition space. And so it would be great, along with everything else that's going on, could go on in this building that could be constructed, if there was a public exhibition space for things that would replace or go beyond what was available from Kingscott, would be a nice addition to the community, because the community is used to using that, and it was people would go out of their way down all the way from the mall all the way down East Michigan to get to the Kingscott building. So which is where Southwest Michigan First was located there for a while. They were up on the second floor. Anyway, that's enough of that. I just had to relay my enthusiasm about what could happen there. And don't forget about exhibition space. That's all.
No problem.
Commissioner, well, I saw Commissioner Cunningham's hand up first, and then Commissioner Hess.
Thank you, Mayor, for the opportunity to speak. What can I say? Thank you guys for the amazing presentation. Thank you for the work, especially to see a lot of the SBK initiatives built into what we have going on. I think that's always got to be at the forefront of our priorities. Also, Melody, I had a pretty good understanding of your role as I worked very closely with your predecessor. But as of late, I had a pretty good conversation with Mr. Thuringer. And so to see in this presentation, more about your actual position, just get used to me probably ringing you, or giving you a call and taking up more of your time now. So I also want to highlight Salesforce. I know that you kept mentioning it in this presentation. I have worked with it very closely, and I think that is an amazing program. One of the things that I think is highly important in anything that we do is the continued benchmarking to measure our growth. I know that, you can use that data for a lot of different things, figuring out what works, what doesn't work, things of that nature. But I really like that component of benchmarking and striving for better and having some goals to obtain. I also want to just kind of re-highlight, those micro businesses that are out there. Those are 10 employees or less, in the culture that we want to really build around that, versus, with a small business that can be 50 employees or less. And we just, it's stated as small, but it's not really small when you have 50 employees in today's times. And so I really appreciate our goal towards that. I also want to highlight, the importance of my appreciation for reaching out to those faith-based organizations. One of the things that is a little known fact, they actually own quite a bit of land here in this community. And so a lot of it is, it's not that they don't want to invest in those pieces of land or create some type of economic development. It's just oftentimes we aren't doing our job as city leaders or as city administration and or other organizations that are tasked with this opportunity, to reach out to them and say, hey, this is some of the things that we could potentially see at this space. This is some data, this is what it shows and reflects, and we think it'll be profitable, or we think that it'll be beneficial to the community for one reason or another. And so I appreciate that component that we've been working towards. Another thing, kind of going with the educational component that our Commissioner Hess always highlights. We have all of these colleges around, and so we have a lot of intellectual property in this community. And one of the ones that really surprised me, and I know I would like to see, I don't know if necessarily it needed to be in this presentation, but I would like for it to be a continued priority, Michigan Economic Development Corporation, which does a lot of the economic development in the state of Michigan, recently gave us a presentation, and our region is considered thought leaders around graphic design and that artistic component. So not only are we, I guess when I think of artsy, I think of KIA and things of that nature, but more of that technical piece is that graphic design. Due to graphics packaging, the papers companies and cereal companies that are in this area. So just continue to keep that, I guess, in our forefront of our mindset. And then also one of the programs that I'm really excited about and we've been doing work on is focusing in on those minority contractors. You know, it's a fragmented industry. But it's an elastic industry, so the need is always going to be there. And so I think that there is quite a bit of opportunity there if we continue to cultivate that culture of building up strong minority contractors and or contractors in general. Because you mentioned, you know, going after those contracts within the county. But, you know, you got federal contracts, you got contracts that are in our neighboring counties, things of that nature. And so, yeah, I think there's a really lot of opportunity there. I know my motto is cheaper, faster, better. And so anything that we can do to provide our businesses a way to be cheaper, faster, and better, I think is going to be beneficial for our community at large. And sometimes that doesn't necessarily mean it comes into the city. Maybe it goes to township, maybe it goes to Portage. And so I would also like to see a lot of governmental interaction there as a part of our presentation. So it shouldn't just be the promise. It should be, you know, maybe something else that another neighboring community presents also as a part of our sales pitch. So once again, I just want to say thank you and I guess kind of give you guys some of my thoughts and things that I've been intentional on over the last couple of years.
Thank you.
Yeah, Commissioner Hess.
Thank you again, Antonio. Wonderful presentation. Makes me want to jump on board again. This is great. So a few things. Discover Kalamazoo. I know it's a visitors bureau more so, but are they a part of the Kalamazoo resources that you have? Are you working? I know they're working because I sit on the board as one of my commission seats. Are you working with them because they are working on branding Kalamazoo and talking about Kalamazoo and selling Kalamazoo? How heavily are you working with Discover Kalamazoo?
Yes, I've met with them a couple of times, and part of pretty much putting together this. I used to back in the day when I used to put together these packets, they would just put together me a packet, and then I would add it to my packet to send to someone that was interested in developing here in Kalamazoo. So pretty much I've already spoke to them a couple of times already about re-engaging and put something together to assist. I've utilized them in the near past with pulling some information together this year with just data and other information to share with someone that was interested in the area, what's here. But we'll be working closer with them to put together, you know, not only the right package, but depending on, like in the past, I would use them for a package for the employees that they was interested. So individuals that was looking to relocate here, we would put together a package for them and with Discover Kalamazoo to share with them to understand what all the amenities are here in Kalamazoo. People don't understand what we have in this Kalamazoo County area. And I always tell people, I said, anything you want to do here, including skiing, you can do 10 minutes away from our downtown. And so, you know, I'm always we got great bike trails that you can literally ride from our downtown, literally to Lake Michigan, you know. And so there's kayaking, canoeing, anything you want to do, you can do 10 minutes away from our downtown or in our downtown area. So the answer to your question, Commissioner Hess, is yes. I've already spoke to them. They already understand what my initiative is to start putting together the right package that can assist not only a business, but also more importantly, also the employees of that business as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I know Jane Ghosh is excited about working with us.
Yes.
She's the new CEO. A few things. So with the health resources, I think adding WMed to both Borges and Bronson would be helpful. I don't know if you've met Dr. Donovan Roy yet, but Dr. Roy is he's been here for a year. He's pleasantly surprised about Kalamazoo having come here from California. He's like the guy we want on our pamphlets. He came in as the DEI coordinator at WMed, and he's really wonderful, putting together a wonderful countrywide presentations for young Black males going into the medical profession. So he's working on that. So Donovan Roy might be a good person to work with. And WMed is a wonderful resource in our community. Like, they really are working hard to be a good community residents. And that said, like Commissioner Cunningham said, yes, I'm going to bring up education. I think that having recruited to just to Kalamazoo College and for 35 years, the resources, the packets that we had to send out, the resources, I think that if we were as a city to really work with all three of our higher education institutions to work with are we working with all of the admission offices, recruitment offices for those schools? And if we were to be able to say to educational institutions, yes, we have internships in the city, not only with city staff, not only in the city, but with the businesses with whom we work, and recruiting business by saying, we've got this student body here who are young, they're forward thinking, they're intelligent, they're computer savvy, and they can actually help your business as interns. So we have wonderful human resources here in Kalamazoo in our student population that we would like to, and the more they stay in Kalamazoo, let them stay in Kalamazoo. I want to retain these students. These are awesome people. I want them to stay in Kalamazoo after they graduate. So, I would just like to see us make sure that we work with the colleges, with the Promise, and making sure that we once again sign and cement in that Kalamazoo contract with the Kalamazoo Promise as claiming education as Kalamazoo's strength. Because everything we're doing here, everything you did for us tonight, Antonio, you educated us. I'm just so grateful. So let's keep up that work. I'll stop there.
Just
Thank you,
can I give
Commissioner Hess.
Can I give a quick response to Commissioner Hess? The answer is yes. Want to do all the things you're talking about. One thing with what we found out, at least me working with Western on some other things and talking to my son, graduated from Western, and talking to students, is one thing I found out, and maybe you guys can help me if you're hearing the same thing, is that we have a lot of students that love going to school here, going to Western, going to Catholic College, this and that, but they say, well, I want to go someplace else to live, but I would love to come back here and raise my family. And I was like, a big light bulb popped up in my head, like, okay, we need to really start trying to recruit some of these graduates that know how great of a education, arts, and family community we are. We need to start trying to recruit them back. I think we're in this new time with COVID, though, too, where people can work from home in the future. We need to try to attract some of those, like I said, all these minds that have left that want to raise a family in a great community. And we think Kalamazoo County is a great community. We need to recruit them back. So I'm on the same page as you. I believe education is power. So that's my motto. So I'm in agree with you 100%. So thank you for saying all that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Antonio. Hey, I was going to just, Commissioner Cunningham was going to give Vice Mayor Griffin a chance if you had anything you wanted to ask before.
I do, but Attorney Robinson has had his hand up for a while. And did you have something? I wondered if he had something to say that was part of that you wanted to get out. Is there something you wanted to say, Clyde? Because I can wait.
I wanted to give some clarification regarding the marijuana. The 25% set off is not state mandated. That is a city commission policy that you adopted. So I wanted to clarify that. I think that was a little, it wasn't as clear as it might have been in Mr. Mitchell's presentation. The other thing is licenses. He is right that in December of this year, if you will, the shackles come off, but they've already come off to some degree. When this act was passed, there were, for the first 24 months, 2 classes, small growers and micro businesses, were limited to Michigan residents. All the other licenses, with the exception of the testing facilities, which could go to anybody, all the other types of licenses required an individual or a company to have a medical license before they got their adult use license. As of March 1st of this year, that requirement no longer is in place. So you do not need, for any of the licenses, to have a medical license in hand when you apply as of March 1st. However, in order to get the small grow, the Class A, or the micro business, you must be a Michigan resident. However, that requirement will come off at the end of the year. So I just wanted to clarify that for everybody as to that the business is opening up even as we speak.
Thanks, Attorney Robinson. I'm sorry I missed your hand. To our courteous Vice Mayor Griffin. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor Anderson. I just have a couple brief comments. Thank you for this presentation. For anyone who's watching, this is helpful for us as we set our priorities for 2022. And so we can define success as well as other areas as it relates to economic development. So thank you very much for this in-depth presentation. One, will we be able to get a copy of the slides from this presentation today?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then just 2 quick comments, because I'll definitely, I will have to mull over and process. But just briefly, I was very happy to hear about not only looking at lifting up the positives in Kalamazoo and getting people that aren't from here who have moved here to stay, but as well as for the people who already live here and making sure this is somewhere where they want to continue to be or where they can thrive while they're there. So I am happy to hear about those 2 components coming forward in this. And then another thing that I got from this, which I'm looking forward to as a whole, is the connection of economic development to all the other aspects in the city and how all of these components play together. So when one move happens in economic development, there might be another move that happens in another area, but all of these moves are working for the greater good altogether. And my last comment is just whatever organization, whoever we're working with, we want to make sure that they have values that the city of Kalamazoo has said that our values are. And so up front, we are clear on that and we know that, so that we know that the outputs that are coming are going to be in line with what we'd like to see for our entire community. So that's all I have, and just thank you all again.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Cunningham?
I just want to go back to that statement that you were making, Antonio, about or Mr. Mitchell, about bringing back some of those students. I think a good resource would be the business college. What I will say is they do a very good job with reaching out to all of their prior graduates, but I will say that the other educational departments are very fragmented and aren't as consistent. So one, tapping into them, and then 2, I would also advise kind of presenting that to them to say, not only do we want, our business students to, be engaged or whatever it is, or come back and provide that opportunity to, but really tap into those other departments too. And I'm not sure what it would take for that type of collaboration, but.
That's a super good idea, Commissioner Cunningham. Any other questions for staff? I don't see anyone's hand. I know someone will tell me if I'm missing somebody. I don't see anything. So I wanted to run through a few things quick here, just to remind us all about all the various other things that are going on. First of all, thank you very much, team, for making the presentation related to the 140 South Edwards, is it? And that development. This has been something that has been part of our work. We are, we are a member of the Michigan Municipal League. And as part of that, there was a whole development opportunity they put together, I think particularly for urban core cities, if I'm not wrong on that. And that was something that was intended to be, I think, in Detroit on stage. What was that, a year and a half ago, maybe, before the whole world got upended. So I was really happy we were able to pull that off on Zoom and do it that way. I think that's great. Thank you, Commissioner Hess, for raising up Discover Kalamazoo and our new very energetic director there, Jane Ghosh. I think that is a very good partner in terms of, how we want to tell our story about Kalamazoo here, and also reminds all of us that every one of us here in the commission has liaison responsibilities to other boards and commissions here in town. And that takes up hours of work, attending those meetings. And Commissioner Hess, you are the liaison to Discover Kalamazoo. And thank you for doing that work. I also want to remind all of us that we do have our downtown, our TIF district downtown that, does that work, but we also have a new district on the north side. I happen to sit on that board as well as the downtown DAGA board, but we have that new north side corridor district, which is just forming a new TIF district that can create development and then have those development resources stay. Once again, as you're talking about, Mr. Mitchell, how can you not only, have a business that spawns other businesses adjacent to it, but having that business growth in that district also creates resources that can invest further in that district, and how important that's going to be to keep that in our mind as we're doing our economic development work and the other added benefits that can accrue out of that. This isn't going to work so well on Zoom, but I keep thinking that I need to show up to some of these meetings with my old Carhartt coat and my tool belt on, because I am all about, being able to create family wealth and prosperity by being in business for yourself, and I will in the building business. And I'll tell you what, we're going to be building things in the city of Kalamazoo. We're going to be building housing. We're going to be building storefronts for businesses. We're going to be doing that work. And I just cannot emphasize enough that that is an awesome way to build a life for yourself, is be in business and be employed and being in the trades. Right now, I can't remember what the percentage is, but a lot of folks who are in the trades now are in that baby boomer getting to retire end of things. There's going to be great need there, and there's going to be need right in the city of Kalamazoo. So I just can't emphasize that more, how that is a great opportunity. And I'm really glad we're supporting folks to get into that space. And I guess the last thing is we can have this conversation, which can just seem is a bit much, all the things that we're doing and all the plates we're trying to keep spinning. But it reminds me that I continue to want to have that condensed so that all of us have that elevator speech, and maybe it's there and I just missed it, Mr. Mitchell, but what's that elevator speech? What's that 2-minute, 1-minute speech that we're going to tell? What's the story we're going to tell when we're traveling or we're in town here to each other? What is our community economic agenda? What is that, and how are we going to tell that story? Because we need to have that really memorized. To have prosperity, we need to have a strong and diverse economy in Kalamazoo. And that is what we want for all of us that live here in Kalamazoo. So you're on the ground floor of this work. Appreciate it. Maybe you'll remind me afterwards, there was that elevator speech. You can lift it out of my presentation here, but remind us again what that is. And I want to have that memorized, and maybe someday, when I feel more comfortable traveling, I can be like the person I call my mayor, the former mayor, Bobby Hopewell, and be recruiting people from other parts of the country and talking about it when we're out in neighborhoods about what the opportunities are for people here. So it's energizing. I appreciate it a great deal. Thank you. to your team and to you, Mr. Mitchell, for being with us tonight. And I always go back, Commissioner Cunningham brings this up all the time. Benchmarks, what's the story we're going to tell? We got a good story to tell. What are the numbers going to look like when we come back and report on this in some months or next year? What's that going to look like? Now we're down to a portion of our agenda for commissioner comments. Are there any additional comments commissioners would like to make? I'm sorry, I didn't see you up here. Anything else from the team in terms of the presentation side?
No, we're good. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, sir. Any comments from commissioners? All right, seeing no comments, I just want to remind everybody that our regular business meeting starts at 7 this evening. And we have a lot on that agenda. We got a lot of big things on that agenda. So we got a lot of work to do, a lot of things, important things on the consent and also the regular agenda. So tune in. This is just the start for tonight. And with that said, we are adjourned.